Hurricane Sandy is here, making her presence known to all of Delmarva, and WMDT continues to track her movements.
You're going to be hearing this all night, folks. Things are only going to get worse before they get better. Let's head right to meteorologist Stephanie Allison. Steph, what is the latest?
Good evening. Well, we are looking at the worst part of the storm happening right now outside. It's going to continue to be this way over the next several hours. So Sandy is beginning to make landfall and it's starting to pick up. Let me just show you what we've been seeing all day. This is Crisfield, Maryland. Those folks there are underwater, and that was due to the high tide earlier today, early this afternoon around 2 o'clock. The waters came up and now the town is pretty much flooded. You can see some insane photos there. And we're going to head to our second one, looking at this one too. The town of Crisfield is underwater, unfortunately, and we still have another high tide to go through the overnight hours tonight. So we are going to continue to see this flooding, especially along the bay, even into tomorrow. So let's take a look at our next photo now. This is a little bit different on the other side of the coast, South Shore Marine Basin in Delaware. So this is close to the Indian River Inlet. So we're looking at really just washed away. The water is coming right over the bulkheads and unfortunately flooding a lot of folks there. And then also another location, Carol Loy in Long Neck, one of our weather watchers. We have a photo there. This is at the White House there in Long Neck, Delaware, flooding throughout those homes, coming right over the bulkhead and into that area. So unfortunately, this system's not letting up anytime soon. Let's go ahead and take a look at our graphics now, showing you Sandy beginning to quickly make landfall here in southern New Jersey. It is picked up quite a bit. So it was moving at 15 miles per hour. Now it is pretty much doubled, so really started to pick up the pace, now moving 28 miles per hour. Still, you can see the yellows and the bright oranges there on the radar. So still heavy rain across the eastern shore and very strong wind gusts. So we are looking at wind gusts over 60 miles per hour in some locations out there right now. That's going to continue that way through the overnight hours. Now, the main thing we really need to talk about is this coastal flood warning. It goes until midnight along the Atlantic coast and along the Chesapeake Bay coast until 8 p.m. tomorrow. So you still have a few more high tides to go. Let's take a close look at the high tides, which you'll experience some very raised water levels. So high tides there in Lewis at 9:15 and the Bethany Beach area at 8:11, and then the main concern once again is in the Crisfield area, which there's another high tide around 2:18. So thinking about the folks there, I'll have more details on what you can expect in the way of wind gusts, the rain, and when we can see this system let up coming up later in the show. But now back to Emily.
Thanks so much, Steph. And you're going to hear this a lot tonight. Things are going to get worse before they get better. Delaware, Virginia, and Maryland are all under a state of emergency, and we've got team coverage all over Delmarva bringing you the very latest on the effects of this storm. But first, joining us now on the phone is Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley with more on what's happening there. Good evening, Governor.
Good evening.
Okay, so earlier today you said this could be a killer storm. What are you hearing and how bad is it out there?
Well, I believe we have our first initial report of a potential storm-related fatality, which involves an automobile accident in Montgomery County, but I'm just now getting the details on that. What we know is happening right now is that this storm is intensifying and becoming stronger at its center, but it is also moving faster. So hopefully we keep our fingers crossed. There was a fear earlier today, a concern that this storm would sit over Maryland and just beat down on us for a good 24, 36 hours. We hope what will happen is it'll continue to pick up speed and move through. We're going to see at 8:30 p.m. in Ocean City some high tide, and that'll be a real dangerous time for them. We are also likely to see more tidal flooding and flooding in the tributaries of the bay than we've seen in a good long time. And there was also a water rescue that had to happen out of a community in Crisfield right down there by their pier that became overwhelmed by a much higher tide than they had anticipated.
Right, and our hearts go out to the family of that victim, and we wanted to tell the folks out there, I know that the Route 90 bridge in Ocean City is now closed. The Bay Bridge was closed earlier today. What message, if any, do you want to tell folks about staying off the roads?
Well, the main message is that the more responsibly all of us act by staying inside tonight and staying off the roads, the fewer of us will become casualties of this storm. There are a lot of first responders who are ready to do the courageous work of going out there in this and saving lives, but we shouldn't send them out there unnecessarily. So the most important thing is stay inside, hunker down for the evening, and hopefully by tomorrow afternoon we might get a break and actually see this storm start to get the heck out of here and move on with its life.
Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Again, that was Maryland Governor Martin O'Malley on the phone live with us tonight. And moving on, as Sandy plows through Delmarva, power outages are a huge concern for folks on the shore tonight. And joining us now live in the studio is Mike Lakovich with Delmarva Power. Thank you so much for being here. The situation we just discussed was that there are two counties that are being hit the hardest. Which ones are those and how bad is it?
Well, right now, Worcester and Somerset counties are the problem spots in terms of outages. We've got about 21,000 customers out of service in Maryland. Those are the two key spots, Worcester and Somerset counties. We have about 16,000 out in Delaware at this time.
So many folks. What options do they have, if any? What can they do?
Well, we've told people that they should have storm kits in place, emergency items such as canned goods, bottled water, things of that nature, in the event the lights are going to be out for a while. We announced today that some of these outages could last for a week or more. We're encountering a lot of problems with high winds, a lot of flooding. The flooding, in fact, caused us to de-energize part of Ocean City today near the inlet area, as well as a section of West Ocean City and a trailer park near Bethany Beach, Delaware. In addition, the high winds now, I just got word before we went on with this broadcast, we have suspended all aerial work for the time being because the winds are so high and so dangerous, it is not safe to do any overhead work at this time. We're asking customers to be patient. We'll restore the power as quickly as we can, but safety has to be first and foremost on our minds in getting the power restored.
And if folks have any questions about anything we just discussed tonight, where should they go for more information?
Well, our website, if they have power, one of their neighbors, or if they're in a shelter somewhere, is delmarva.com. We have a lot of information on there, tips and outage information, outage maps. You can also call our customer service number, 1-800-898-8045, if you want information on your particular outage. And we do urge customers to call in their outage so we have a record and able to track where the problem spots are.
Well, again, thank you so much for joining us
You're
tonight.
welcome.
I know you're very busy and you have other places to go and to fill people in on the information that's coming in at this moment, but we really do appreciate you sharing this information with our viewers tonight. Thank
You're
you
welcome.
again, Matt.
Okay.
Matt Lakovich with Delmarva Power tonight.